It's about 9:30 on a Sunday. I'm as sick as a dog, but we're gonna do this anyway. How's it going, everyone? ItsShone, and I'm back at you with Season 2. It's fall time, so we're going to be wrapping up the season soon. Therefore, I just had to get this video out before then. I've been putting it off for quite a long time, but I knew I had to make it. This is my experience with Seeds of Peace. Before we get started, I don't want anyone to be deferred from Seeds of Peace after watching this video, like get uncomfortable with it or just decide not to apply. Experiences are different for everyone, and this is just my personal one. To give you a bit more context on what Seeds of Peace is, it's an international camp that takes campers from all over the world. They're selected based on their identities and how well or how efficiently that's going to contribute to dialogue-based sessions on social and political issues. This is the identity I applied with, and this is the identity I have now. Seeds of Peace is always marketed as very mysterious. The people that go are always said to come back completely different. I'm really just tired right now. I need to wake up. Literally just need to wake up or something. I need to fucking wake up. Okay. Jesus Christ. Seeds of Peace is essentially marketed like it's very mysterious. People that go there come back thinking completely differently. For example, I went to Winslow at this time, so a lot of the popular kids, the kids that went to Seeds of Peace, went in conservative and came out liberal. I guess that's the way that you can put it really bluntly. Personally, if you're a liberal or conservative, I don't care. This is about Seeds of Peace and my experience with it. Another bit of mystery around Seeds of Peace is what they call the process. It was always mentioned throughout the beginning, oh, trust the process and your mind will be altered. Trust the process and your perceptions will change. Everybody was talking about the process throughout the entirety of camp, but nobody knew what the hell it was. So I decided to go asking for questions, but we'll get to that soon. Once you get off the bus, you're greeted with your other first-year campers, because most every camper there is first year. Everybody is just as confused as I was. You're then acquainted with your dialogue group, your table group, and your bunk group. Your table group is who you eat with, your bunk group is who you live with, and your dialogue group is who you spill your guts out with. One of my best friends from Seeds of Peace I found in my bunk, and another one of my best friends from Seeds of Peace I found in my table group. I ended up getting sick towards the beginning of camp for the first week. Nobody knew what it was. I went to the doctor or whatever at camp, the infirmary, and nobody knew what it was. I had a ridiculous cough, and it got to the point I couldn't get any sleep, so I ended up almost going home. But all of my counselors were like, no, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Oh, and I should also probably mention that there are no cell phones allowed, no electronic devices of any kind allowed on camp. Actually, that's another mysterious part of it. You're not allowed to know where the camp is. I'm pretty sure that's for safety reasons. I know there's Israeli and Palestinian seeds that go there during the international session. And if they were in touch with all the bullshit that's going on over there on a daily basis, it would probably be a bit of conflict on the camp. But anywho, I didn't end up going home. I ended up being persuaded to stay, and I also got a pillow, which was nice because I wasn't given a pillow there. I got some sleep, and I was back to my normal self. And my normal self was still fucking curious about what the hell was going on. So the next part is the dialogue group. Essentially what a dialogue group is one part is to teach you how to be a good leader, and the other part is to dismantle bias. And you form really close bonds with the people in this group because you talk about really heavy shit that goes on in your life. We would talk about things like racism and gender inequality, so on and so forth. I remember at one point they would sit all the white kids and the black kids on each side of the room for my dialogue group, and we would have to say one thing we hate about the other, one thing we love about the other, and something we're hopeful for the future. That was the kind of shit that went on in there. There was also a lot of talk about personal things, stuff going on in your personal life, stuff that you've experienced as children, not necessarily related to social or political issues, and that got a lot of tears going. You could expect how emotional that kind of shit got. I ended up befriending the facilitator, which is the person that kind of literally facilitates the conversation and does all these different exercises. I befriended this guy, and after every dialogue session, I would stay after and ask him questions, like, why are we talking about this? When are we going to get to this? so on and so forth. And the thing about facilitators from Seeds of Peace is, like, they're not allowed to tell you anything. The effectiveness of the process is essentially it's not revealed, right? So I would have to ask my questions in very strategic ways. It was like going through a maze trying to get answers out of this guy. But eventually everything made sense. I realized why all of my counselors told me so profusely that I shouldn't leave, and I also realized why I was the only straight white man in my dialogue group. Essentially, I found out that Seeds of Peace is geared towards teaching people how to be more diplomatic and open-minded. It's geared towards getting rid of bias in people, and it's also geared towards teaching people how to challenge the system. That being said, the system in the United States throughout all of history has mostly been run by straight white men. And at the time, that fit my identity perfectly. But the reason why I was even there was to make sure the notion of challenge the system wasn't misinterpreted as challenge white people, because that is something that's easily misinterpreted nowadays. To reiterate, Seeds of Peace wants to teach their campers to challenge the system, and I was there to make sure that their challenge the system notion wasn't misinterpreted as challenge white people. And that's the reason why all of my counselors were so profusely telling me not to leave, because if I had left, the message would have been misinterpreted. It was misinterpreted anyway, and I'm going to get to that soon. But anyway, after I found that out, I wasn't incredibly surprised. I guess I was a little disheartened about how controlled the environment was. Like, everybody was there, everybody is at Seeds of Peace for a reason. Everything is calculated. They calculate how many white people, how many black people, how many Asians, how many Christians, how many Muslims they have in a dialogue group, so on and so forth. They calculate all that before they do it. But if there's anything that you can take refuge in, anything you can take relief in, is the fact that they're doing it for peace. They're not doing it because they want to brainwash anyone. Seeds of Peace is a very pure institution. But that makes me segue into my next part, where Seeds of Peace isn't just the institution, it's the community. And the community is by no means pure. Jesus Christ. When we all went home, it was almost like overnight everyone stopped being so loving and caring as they were at camp. And it was also like everything that we were taught about understanding other people's perceptions, everything about being good leaders and listening to people was instantly forgotten too. So what happened was, the first incident, there were photos of a protest. Some seeds from my session went to a protest, and they came back and tried to start a hashtag, Seed Support DACA. Or maybe it wasn't a hashtag, maybe it was on a poster or something. But something inside that irked me, not because I didn't agree with DACA, but more because they're trying to take Seeds of Peace, the pure institution, and align it with something so inflammatory. And it felt wrong, because we were taught to treat everyone's opinions with respect and not leave anybody out, especially if it's in the community. And the fact that that's exactly what these people were doing, and the people that disagreed didn't say anything, was really fucking frustrating to me. So I ended up sticking up for everyone and myself, and I ended up contacting these people that became the ringleaders of this fucking charade. And I was like, Seeds of Peace is about... I remember my exact words, actually. I said on a video, and I sent it out to everyone, I said, I was under the impression that Seeds of Peace was about accepting other people's opinions. And I went on to talk about how they're leaving a lot of people out. And one of my counselors contacted me after I put that video out, and she goes, yeah, people just misinterpret it all the time. People just misinterpret the purpose of Seeds of Peace all the time. They misinterpret it as being progressive. That wasn't a surprise to me either, but I guess that was also disheartening. I felt like I was the only one that continued to understand Seeds of Peace's motives, but at the same time, there were so many people that sided with these people that were doing this. I felt like I was wrong, too. After that happened, I was kind of like exiled from Seeds of Peace, honestly. My dialogue group didn't really speak to me. I wasn't really included in a whole lot of things, and it's expected. I mean, I guess the problem wasn't that I had my opinion silenced. It was more that I had my opinion silenced by people that were in my community, people that were in the same boat as me, people that were taught the same things as me. It's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, a couple months go by, and I forgot what he fucking does, but his name's Reggie something, and he sent everybody out a survey to get their experience on Seeds of Peace. I told them exactly what happened. I told them, people misinterpret what this is supposed to be. They exile people. They leave people out if they don't agree with the majority, which is, once again, not what we were taught to do. And I sent it, and I didn't get any response back, and I still haven't. And I applied to go again, and I was not accepted. I can't say for sure if that was because of what I said or what happened. I don't think it is. I think they might have their reasons for not accepting me, but at the same time, it made me feel like I really got it all wrong. Like Seeds of Peace's motives. Because as I look at it, Seeds of Peace is either how I interpreted it, or it is brainwashing people to do what they did, what those people did. But I don't think that's so. I really don't think I misinterpreted it. I really don't. And if you're somebody that wants to go and you go, and then come back and tell me if I got it right. Anyway, for the final incident, there's a group chat for Maine Seeds of Peace campers, and somebody, I'm not going to name who, comes out and says, Seeds of Peace caters way too much towards white people, and black people, people of color, need to have their own dialogue groups. Now, personally, I think the entire notion of that is just fucking ridiculous. But to give you a little bit more context on why she felt the way that she did, she felt like white people were learning more about their bias than black people were. I completely understand that. I guess, for the most part, white people live in a different sphere when it comes to implicit bias, when it comes to racism, and would thus be more woke. Their eyes would be open wider in these dialogue sessions, and then I just picture people of color just being like, yes, we've been telling you this the whole time, you know. I guess that's where she was coming from. But when I read that, it was the final nail in the coffin for me, because she goes, black people, people of color need their own dialogue groups. And then everybody in the group chat either supported her or stayed silent. And there was one person that disagreed, and they conceded eventually because everybody fucking was breathing down their neck. And one of the year 2 campers, which are the people that are kind of like a higher level up from the year 1 campers, he's like, yes, I'm gonna take what you say and I'm gonna get in contact with Tim, who's the guy that leads it. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get in contact with him with this. This is really important. And I just thought that if you're making people of color and you're putting them in a different dialogue group, doesn't that just defeat the whole purpose of dialogue anyway? How else are you going to learn anything? I mean, I keep trying to think about why she wanted this separate dialogue group to happen. Maybe it was because she thought that they could teach each other more than if there were white people around. It doesn't make fucking sense to me, honestly. But anyway, after that came out into the group chat, and the year 2 camper was taking it to Tim, it was like the final nail in the coffin for me. It was such a step backwards. Like, you're gonna segregate dialogue groups, really? Like, this is Seeds of Peace. This is where segregation is supposed to stop. This is where the integration, the mingling, this cultural experience is supposed to happen. That, I'm way too tired to show you like my full emotion on that, but it really just fucking made me mad. And the counter argument would be, oh, you're white, you wouldn't understand. And maybe you're right. Maybe I wouldn't understand. But from the logical standpoint that's crafted in my brain, segregation sounds like a step fucking backwards. But anyway. In conclusion, my experience with Seeds of Peace was not great. But it's something that I'll keep with me forever. I met good people and I met bad people. I met a true, pure institution, and I met a community so very easily manipulated by itself. Because at the end of the day, when the campers go home, they're still just teenagers. They just go back to getting fed whatever they were fed. And it's really hard to get on a high horse and talk about this shit because I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. You know? I only know what I know. I can't know what I don't know. I can't see perceptions that I haven't been shown yet. I just feel like I learned what I learned, and I feel like everybody else was supposed to as well learn what I learned, and they just didn't. Or they did and they forgot. So, if you're going to Seeds of Peace, if you plan to go to Seeds of Peace, I recommend it. I recommend it regardless of whatever identity you are, just because it's a very good opportunity to understand things. And that you understand things far after camp ends. Camp is the first part. The next part is what everyone does with it afterwards. So, after this, I think I'm going to take this video and I'm going to give it to Seeds of Peace. I'm going to go to Otis Field and I'm going to give this video to them. And I want them to know where I'm coming from. I want them to see this. And I'm going to put this outside in a shirt with my name on it. And inside it's going to be a disc with this video on it. I genuinely hope that this finds you well. And I hope any of the people from Seeds of Peace that see this video know that I have no hard feelings towards you. I'm just not enthused about how things turned out. Well, subscribers and viewers, as has been shown, do what you do best, subscribe and view. This is the second to last episode of Season 2. The next one's gonna be fucking wild, so buckle your ass up. And, have a good one. This was in the shirt. What if, like, they think this thing is like a fucking weapon and they're like, oh shit, arrest this man? What if there's not even like a mailbox or something?